Welcome back to Diesel Pro Mastery. I got Ted with me from Mishimoto. What the heck did you bring me, Ted? This thing looks like a hunk of junk. It's greasy, it's dirty.
Well, you're not too far off there, Eric. So what I brought you here is a factory intercooler out of a 300,000 mile 7.3 Power Stroke truck. And the reason why I brought it was not just to dirty your table, but to go over some of the shortcomings with the factory intercooler and what we normally see, and then what we can do to address that on the Mishimoto performance side of things. So to start off here, you've got a radiator here an intercooler here that is what's called a tube and fin construction. So basically, here you have thin wall aluminum tubes that will transfer heat effectively, and they do the job at a stock power level, but the thin material does make them more susceptible to expanding or ballooning and failing at higher elevated boost levels. But really the thing that will end up stranding you on the side of the road that you really got to be worried about are these plastic end tanks here. So you can actually start to see a little bit on this side here where there's actually like an oily residue coming out of the side.
Oh yeah, it's
here.
nasty all the way up through there.
And so basically, just like a plastic end tank radiator, these will start to seep boost out over time. And the thing that makes that almost worse, in my opinion, than a total failure is that this happens so slowly that sometimes you don't even realize it's happening.
Right.
You're driving down the road, and maybe, so you start to think to yourself, I used to pull this same hill with this same trailer and I never had a problem, but now I got a downshift in third gear, whereas before I pulled that in overdrive. Or, a lot of these even modern diesel trucks, they may not necessarily throw a light on the dash because you're losing a little bit of boost, because it's just not enough to be caught necessarily. And then there's obviously the extreme case where the plastic fails because of the boost pressure. I had a stack of these at my shop at one point where, one of the two tanks is just blown totally off of the thing, or, the plastic is just degraded and cracked over time. And, that's an inconvenience on the side of the road. You're trying to go somewhere on vacation with your family, and now you got to wait for a tow truck, and you got to pay that bill, and, and listen to the rest of your family being less than pleased with you. And it's just not really an ideal scenario. So, Mishimoto, we took this design and we maximized it, and we've got some really cool features that I'd like to show you and how we address these shortcomings.
Yeah, it has to, if you're losing boost like this, it's got to put more strain on the turbo and the whole turbo system. So, I can imagine where, possibly could you create some turbo issues down the road if you don't catch this soon enough?
You can create a ton of issues. So when you're leaking boost and you're not getting the right boost pressure, then the amount of fuel that's being injected into the engine is no longer correct. So on an older diesel truck, that can contribute to higher EGTs, reduced power, more smoke out the tailpipe, poor fuel economy, just not optimized performance. Now we take it into the modern era where now we have emissions controls, we have DPF, SCR, and EGR, and that's not just an inconvenience, that's a truck killer. Where you have too little boost making it to the engine, you're going to be filling that exhaust particulate filter, excessive regens, increased exhaust fluid use, and eventually, internal engine damage can result if you continue to push it and just dump all that heat in the engine. None of that is good for your pistons, your liners, your exhaust manifold, or like you said, your turbocharger, which is just, really struggling to keep up.
Well, I've heard enough about this piece of junk. Can we get rid of it and show something that's a little nicer?
I think we can do that,
All right,
Eric.
let's do that. We got rid of that piece of junk. Now tell me about this nice Mishimoto.
Absolutely. So we started off from the core, which is the most critical part of the intercooler, by ditching that tube and fin style construction and going with a bar and plate style. The bar and plate style construction offers a bunch of benefits. The first one being that it performs better. It's going to be exchanging that heat out of the turbocharger air system and into the atmosphere more efficiently and effectively. it's also going to be able to withstand a significantly more amount of boost than the tube and fin product will. We see people running over 100 pounds of boost with these,
Wow.
and I mean, these things are just about indestructible. So it's going to be good for, if you're towing heavy, or you've got higher than stock power level, higher than stock boost pressure. You upgrade to this is going to be something that's going to, keep you on the road, keep you going for longer.
These mounting brackets that are welded on here, I mean, they look like you could pull a trailer with these things the way they're made.
Well, it's a heavy duty product, and it needs heavy duty mounting to support it. So, we take the mounting locations from the factory and we retain the locations, so that way it fits just like a factory intercooler would. But they are obviously all beefed up and reinforced to ensure that this thing is securely mounted for years and years to come without giving you any sort of trouble.
Yeah, this is a nice piece. Just picking it up, this thing is, you can tell it's built very well. The quality of it's very nice. I notice here that you got the weld all the way down where it's not, crimped over like the factory one.
Yeah, so we utilize fully welded construction on our performance intercoolers. All of our intercoolers use aluminum end tanks. This particular model, like many of ours, feature cast aluminum end tanks. Cast aluminum end tanks offer multiple advantages. So first of all, we can get as complex with this geometry as we want. We can smooth the corners out. We can optimize this flow so that way the air is flowing in smoothly, it's not becoming turbulent,
right,
and that just improves performance and efficiency. Additionally, we can put diverter plates inside of these, and I believe this one is one of the models that has that. And what that'll allow is complete use of the core, because if you just have air going in and out, air is a fluid. It wants to take the easiest path,
right,
the least resistance. So with the diverters in there, it ensures that the air is distributed across the entire product, and that way everything is working, not just the middle third or the top third of the product. So those cast end tanks are by far the strongest and enable the best performance and the best airflow characteristics.
Yeah, I mean, if you're running a shop, this has to be an easy option as an upgrade to sell to somebody. I mean, to me, it's a no-brainer when you show them the factory one versus what this offers, and the extreme conditions that some of these trucks are in. I would think it would be a simple sell for these shops to sell to these shops.
Absolutely. I mean, it's an investment, but so is the rest of your truck, right? You want something that's going to be reliable and safe, and there's also going to be something that is supporting the rest of your modifications if that's what suits or matters to you. You could have that, that performance turbocharger. You could have, the other programming. You could have other, fueling upgrades. But none of that really is being used at its full potential if you're not investing in proper intercooling products.
Yeah, it does you no good to put a big turbo on there or something, and you got it bottlenecked through a factory intercooler, right? I mean, you're not getting the max. You're spending all that money on a turbo, but you're not getting the full potential out of it.
Exactly. Yeah, you pay good money for the turbo, but you're using 50% of it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, Ted, I really appreciate you coming out. This is a great product. These are going to be well received in the Diesel Pro network. And Mishimoto, you have done a fine job with that. Thank you for coming out for Diesel Pro Mastery.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Eric.